The newly released Fujifilm X-Half is certainly a beautiful little camera, but oh boy, that $850 price tag is gonna sting, and you can bet that shortages are gonna drive up that price as well. What if I tell you though, there's a camera with similar performance, a nice retro-inspired look, and it even does some things better than the Fuji at about just a quarter of the price? Well, such a camera really does exist, and it's the Nikon One J5 right here. But before that, if you like the show, help the channel grow by giving a like and a sub. Alright, I'll shut up for a while and let you see what you can do with the Nikon One J5. Yes, you heard me right. I got this Nikon One J5 and its kit lens for $200. Now granted, I'm in Japan and I had to hunt around a little bit for deals, and eventually I stumbled on this guy on a second-hand clothing store of all the places, and they sold it to me in this McDonald's tier fast food clear bag. Who doesn't like a little crust on their camera, huh? After a deep clean though, the Nikon J5 works fine. With some luck, you'll be able to find this camera for similar prices as well. And the Nikon One lineup actually has many older models that can be had for even lower prices. What's special about the J5 though is the retro-inspired looks, much like the Fuji X-Half. It's got that rangefinder silver top, the sleek square lines that look very attractive, and you can see that the younger OM system EP7 definitely took some design cues from this camera. The small body, it's comparable in size to, say, the Panasonic GM1 that I talked about before, and it's pretty much like compact camera size, so you can slip it into a jacket or a pants pocket quite easily. For such a small camera, Nikon packs in comprehensive controls, giving you a top and back dial, a function button in the front, and a convenient touch-enabled screen that can flip out and upwards. Though I will say that the tightly packed small buttons are a little easy to mispress. You turn on the camera by flicking the switch on top with pretty fast boot times, and it doubles as a little fidget toy too. Another quirky thing is that this camera takes micro SD cards instead of normal full-sized SD cards. At the heart of the Nikon J5 is a 21 megapixel 1-inch type sensor, the same sensor size found in the Fuji X-Half. Although there's a 10-year gap between the two cameras, I would actually expect performance to be quite similar. And spec for spec, the J5 has the bigger screen and an impressive 1/16,000 of a second minimum shutter thanks to the electronic shutter. Not to mention, the J5 has an impressive party trick with its ludicrous 60 FPS burst rate for moving subject. It's still wiping the floor with many modern cameras today. Meanwhile, the Fuji X-Half has a basic 1 FPS burst. Being able to change the lens also affords you extra versatility. I mean, yeah, it's not gonna be as compact, but the wide end of this kit lens's 10mm at f3.5 is a fairly close match for the X-Half's built-in lens. And unlike the fixed lens of the Fuji, you can zoom in with this J5 kit when the situation requires. Though I will say that the electronic zoom is a bit jerky and unstable. And the little kit zoom here also has auto closing curtains, so you don't have to fiddle with a removable lens cap like on the Fuji. But hey, if you want a compact fixed prime lens, Nikon made a 28mm f2.8 equivalent that gets even closer to the X-Half experience and size. Okay, you don't have the viewfinder of the X-Half, but that's like a glass tunnel. It's not an EVF, so there's no stopping you from gluing an OVF onto the J5 for a similar feel. The special sauce of the X-Half is that the sensor is mounted vertically, giving you vertical shots out of the gate. Well, the J5 can also do that. You just gotta hold it sideways. You're smart, you can figure it out. The J5 also does RAW photos with quite good latitude for editing, whereas you're stuck with just JPEGs on the X-Half. A deliberate limitation for sure, but kinda annoying. The menus on the Nikon One J5 are straightforward and easy to use, especially when aided with the touchscreen. If you've used a mirrorless camera in the past decade, then you should be pretty accustomed to how this menu works. I mostly just stick it into the program auto mode and let the camera figure out the settings, but you can do fully manual mode if you want more control over your photos. On Nikon's SnapBridge app, I get a very stable connection with the J5, and although it is a little slow, it can transfer RAW files through wireless, streamlining my editing workflow. With the X-Half, you can make in-camera diptych photos. Yeah, I mean, the J5 can't do that, but it's nothing a few online tools can't help. I'll leave the links to this website in the description if you want to play around with it. Alright, I won't keep you waiting, let's look at some photos from this little guy. As you can see, even after a decade since when it came out, the J5 still has a lot to offer. The lens and sensor combo is very capable in daylight conditions, giving you a versatile but compact platform to work with. Its hybrid contrast and face detect autofocus works quite quickly to grab onto subjects, and there's an impressive macro as well, focusing on subjects just about 3 centimeters away from the lens. And even at nighttime, it puts up a good fight, though noise does start to creep in beyond ISO 800. But I would imagine the X-Half is also going to be facing the same challenges as well. Still, that doesn't mean the Nikon J5 is absolutely perfect. I will admit, Fuji's film simulations are heads and shoulders above the Nikon's basic color profiles. And by default, the unedited output of the Nikon files, it's fairly standard. It's gonna need a helping hand in color grading in post to really get those tones out. The lenses are also gonna be a bit hard to find nowadays, as most of them suffer from defects that break their aperture blades, leaving it stuck at the smallest aperture, so you're gonna be getting really dark photos. And the ones that can be found, they are still quite rare and pricey. There's a fundamental difference in the philosophies of these two cameras. The J5 is going for a mirrorless, modern camera system that just so happens to have that rangefinder DNA in the looks, whereas the Fuji X-Half is pursuing that vintage film experience by using digital means. And this will reflect on the way that you use and the way that you experience these two cameras. If you want an X-Half, you're gonna want an X-Half, and no alternative is gonna fully satiate that craving. Heck, even as I have the Nikon One J5 with me now, I still want an X-Half. Psh, Fuji, sponsor me that camera, I will glaze it for you. Would you pick the Nikon J5 for its value, or is the Fuji X-Half's vintage vibes worth the premium? Let me know in the comments down below.